Next up, we're going to start making levels and views inside our Revit project. A level inside Revit is an infinite horizontal work plane that will host everything basically that you're modeling inside Revit. It will host walls and floors, views, plan views, and furniture, all kinds of stuff you're modeling inside Revit will be hosted by a level. A level is a datum element. Similarly to grids inside Revit, you'll find them in the architecture menu above grids. A level can only be modeled inside a vertical view since it's a horizontal work plane. So in order to model a level, we have to open one of our vertical views. We have 4 vertical views in an empty project. It's the 4 elevations, east, north, south, and west, and let's open one of them. I'll open south view. So what happens when you open another view is that it's a window inside Revit will open on top of the previous view that you had. So level 1 here is one view, and the elevation, south elevation, is another view. If I open north elevation, another window inside Revit will open, and I'll see the north elevation of my model. So we can maximize the south elevation view to get most out of our modeling area. So the first thing I do inside here, you can see that we already have a couple of levels, level 1, level 2, and we can see the grids. So I'm going to start by clicking on level 1 or level 2, and I'll drag the actual level element outside so it lies outside the entire grid system on both sides. So I said that it's an infinite drawing level or modeling level for your model. It is, but the visual representation of a level is limited to the symbol on the right-hand side and just the end of the line on the left-hand side. So this is just basically for visual representation of a level inside your Revit project. You can move a level around by just dragging it. You'll see that the parameter that's beneath the level name, which you also can change. Everything that's blue in Revit, I think you can change or click on or something. You can click inside this edit parameter, the height parameter of your level, and we can just say, for instance, 5 meters. The level will move down to 5 meters above level 1. We can also move level 1, obviously, to something like 100 millimeters or back using this same technique. Another way to move a level is to apply a dimension between 2 levels or to something else, and then you can click on a level and use the dimension for moving that level. So again, I click on the level that I want to move, and I move it back to 5 meters. We're going to create a number of levels, actually, because this is going to be a pretty tall building. I'm going to copy my level 2 using the copy command. When I copy it from level 1 up to level 2, I get another level, level 3, with the same distance that I had, the same story height, if you want, between level 2 and level 3. And you can see now that the distance between level 2 and level 3 is 5 meters, but the distance, the elevation parameter on level 3 is 10 meters. So repeat this for another level 4, and that gives us 4 stories. Now you can see that I add a dimension segment to my dimension line by selecting it and using the edit witness line command that's in the modify tab for dimensions, and I click on my new level 4 and in empty space. This way you get like a continuous dimension element with multiple segments. Another way to add levels is using the array command that we used for grids. So I'm going to click on level 4. I'm going to use the array command. I'm going to, again, almost always, I deselect the group and associate tool. And I want my 11th or 12th level to be the last level of this array. So -4, let's say 12, then I use the number 8. And then I'm going to have a pretty high story height on level 1, 2, and 3. And then from level 4 up, we're going to have some hotel rooms, so with lower story heights. I array this level 4 up, let's say 3.2 meters, like so. Then you can see that level 11 now is the last level in this array. Let's use the edit witness line command tool for these levels as well. So you can see that level 10 actually is the last level of 3.2 meters. All the levels will auto-fill their names and elevation parameters based on their sequence in the array command, just like the grids did. I think actually we're going to copy another level 12. So level 11 is the last level with this story height, 3.2 meters. Then we're going to have office buildings above level 12. So let's select level 12. You use the array command, and let's just try with something like 30 or something. And again, I use the second and point the level in the right direction and enter 3,800 millimeters. That's going to be the story height for this set of my building. This is going to be office building, so we need more floor height or level height between the office buildings. So now you can continue using the edit witness line tool to dimension the level height. So level 12 now will have 3.8 meter story height. Up until I browse up until level 41, I think that I'm going to delete the last level 41 and then just keep level 40 as the last one. I'm going to add a dimension between level 39 and 40, and I'm going to move this level 40 up to 5.6 meters. It's going to be a rather high story height, and level 40 is going to be the top level of this pretty tall building. We can also, if we want, copy or avoid deleting level 41. If you did, you can just rename the new level 42 to level 41, and this or this can be like the roof or top of building or whatever. So these are all the levels that we're going to use in this project. There's a base with 5 meter story heights. There's a hotel section with 3.2 meter story heights, and there's an office section with 3.8 story height, and a top section here. It's going to be a public area with some views and stuff like that. Next up, we're going to just select all the grids in our project and extend them to the top of our levels, the top of our building. So an easy way to do this is like right-clicking on one grid. You choose Select All Instances in Entire Project. If we selected Visible in View, we would always only select the number grids, not the letter grids. So if I use Entire Project, it's going to select all the grids in my entire project, regardless of its number or letter grids. So Entire Project, I'm going to right-click, and I'm going to choose Maximize 3D Extents. So this will basically just extend all my grids in all my views to the top roof level. Let's do the same thing for the reference planes so they are visible for us in all views. I think we cannot select them all because some are pinned, so I'll press Control on my keyboard and then select the two that I have in this view. Just go Maximize 3D Extents from a right-click menu. Now we're going to open the west facade or the east facade, and we'll do the same procedure with the reference planes inside here. Right-click, Maximize 3D Extents. And here we can also drag the level elements outside our last reference plane, so it looks nice and smooth. Let's do it on both sides. Like so. I use, again, ZX on my keyboard to zoom extends this window. So if I use WT window tile, I can now use also ZA like zoom A. I'm going to repeat these shortcuts that are pretty important when you're modeling inside Revit. You use this ZX keyboard combination to zoom extends one window, ZA for multiple windows, and then window tile is the WT. You can actually see these shortcuts, I think, if you go to the view. Let's see here, window tile, yeah, that's WT. Okay, so basically we're done with the levels. You can always change levels, of course. You just move them around like with the nudge tools or whatever, or change their story height parameters. We're going to proceed by adding plan views to each of these levels. So like I said previously, levels host views, or plan views to be precise. If you go to the view menu, you can get access to all the tools for making new views or changing view visibility states, like what's shown in your view and what's not shown in the view. You can make perspective views and 3D views and so on. You make plan views, everything that's flat in a view in Revit, you can make from the plan view tool. Floor plans, reflected ceiling plans, structural plans, plan regions, and area plans. We're going to create floor plans and then forget about the others. Let's just click floor plan, and a dialog box will give us a list of the levels inside our Revit project that does not have an associated view. These are actually the same levels that are black inside my Revit project. You can see that level 2 is blue, level 3 is black. And that basically means that there's no associated view on this level. A blue level, however, is something I can double click on. If I double click on this, it will take me to the floor plan level 2, which is pretty sweet. So let's create all the remaining floor plans. Just select everybody and go OK. And then Revit will create all your floor plan views, like so. We're going to create a couple of more views. Let's create a section or two. If I maximize the roof level or whichever plan view that you have, start is section command. When you start a section command, you're going to select in the properties palette if it's a building section, a wall section, or details section. Let's just go for building section. I won't touch on the details and differences between them. And then you will see that you can snap to reference planes and grids inside Revit when you're making a section. This is pretty handy if you're doing something that's aligned to a wall or something. Let's just create one section here going from west to east. Once you created the section, you will see that it's already selected, and you have this extents control that you can drag. And let's drag this just outside our horizontal grid, so we can see in the entire building section that's going to be inside this area here. Repeat this command again, and going from south to north. Now snapping to the grid elements, the grid number 9 actually, like this. Now, if you go to the project browser and expand the new category of views that we have here, you'll see sections, building section, section 1 and section 2, the names are automatically applied. If we open these, sections 1 and sections 2, you'll see that you can use the WT and zoom A command to see that you have now something that looks like the elevations, but it actually is sectioning through your building. And like every time you do a basic training session inside Revit, you just have to show this. One of the functionalities that I first fell in love with Revit was the ability to change your model in any view that you want. So if you take the grid number D or something, you move it, you will see that it moves simultaneously in any view that represents that element. And that's actually pretty important. This is not a CAD software, it's a modeling software, it's a database. So grid number D is one element. It's the same element in this view as in the plan view or in the level 1 view. And if you move it in any of these views, it's going to simultaneously update in all views. So that's basically it with the levels and plans. Let's proceed to the next chapters.